I'm Jason from Autopot. I'm the Managing Director of Autopot Global. We've been in business for over 22 years and we started with a very low budget of around £46 when we first started, and now we're a multinational company supplying our irrigation equipment all around the world. Autopot Global predominantly is a manufacturer. We manufacture watering systems, the aquavalve, various other different designs for the global market, for the hobby market, for the commercial market, and also for the garden centre market. The uniqueness about our products is that they require no power to operate, no pumps, no timers, no electricity or no computers. It's a simple aquavalve within each design that controls the flow of the water to the plants, and it's the only system in the world that allows the plants to dictate what they want, and they in essence control the flow of water that's put through to the aquavalve. People from all different walks of life grow all different types of plants, but by using the Autopot technology, they're not only saving water, saving time, saving power, but they're also producing beautiful plants time and time again. How did I get into growing? I think, in essence, my background, I'm a designer. I've always been a designer. At the age of 16, I was entered for Young Designer of the Year with the doorstop design. And at the time, I was obviously very flattered. I was 16, 17, and I was doing an O-level in graphic design or product development. And they wanted me to submit this application for Young Designer of the Year, but at the time I was 16, 17, just got my first 50cc motorbike and started chasing girls on motorbikes and never really put the application in. But I've always been a designer, and I think it's born from my father, because my father was one of the most innovative people I've ever met in my life. And my design sort of prowess, I think, came from my father. And if I think about it, while I was younger and before I sort of got into Autopot, I worked as a trainee architect and I designed the glass on Canary Wharf building, the Sovereign Centre in the Docklands, all curtain walling design, and that's led me on to sort of designing the aquavalve, and then horticulture got involved because of the aquavalve technology. So I think horticulture I sort of fell in love with after I became a designer or a product designer or a mechanical designer, whatever you want to call me. And obviously I designed the aquavalve, which was obviously suitable for plants or irrigating plants. So I think in basic terms, that's where my background has come from. And it's been born originally from architecture and from product design at a younger age. And then obviously as I've got older, I've become more interested in plants, and that's where my sort of path has taken me. So the products that Autopot manufactures, the main product, which is the core or the heart of the product, is the aquavalve. So the aquavalve is a water control device that once it's connected to a reservoir of any shape or size, it's gravity fed. The nutrient enriched water travels down the pipework into the aquavalve that's sitting in a tray, and then the aquavalve floods the tray to 20 millimeters, cuts off the water. The plants then drink the water that is sitting in the tray, and then the water is completely depleted, and within half an hour to an hour, the aquavalve will know to then refill the tray. So the aquavalve is designed is the heart of all our Autopot products. And around that aquavalve, we've created the one pot module, which is a single tray that holds a single either 15 litre or an 8.5 litre pot, and it's a square pot. Closely followed was the easy to grow tray, which is a rectangular tray that holds either, as standard, two 8.5 litre pots or two 15 litre pots. And both these designs can be added together, so you can make very large systems in acreages or a square meter if you want to, or in your greenhouse. So each module is independent. Each module has its own aquavalve in it, and they can be linked together so that you can have multiples of modules running off one reservoir. The next module I believe that we designed was the XL module, which comes with a square round pot. So a square round pot is so it's round at the base, so you can rotate it easily, and then as you grow goes up towards the top of the pot, it becomes square, so hence the term square round. Traditionally, you'll probably find them with rose growers. Rose growers tend to use square round pots. I'm not sure why, but they always have done historically. And obviously each module, of all the modules that we create or design, they can all be linked together, and you can have multiple modules and multiple plants all being fed from one reservoir. We also do have created a range of tray designs for Autopot. We have the Auto 3, which is a rectangular tray, accommodates three 25-litre plastic pots, square round plastic pots, or if you want to, you can use fabric pots, which are 20 litres in capacity. We have the Auto 8, which is another rectangular tray, and I think two of those together, they'll fit in an area of 1.2 by 1.2 square metres. The Auto 8, as standard, comes with an 8.5 litre pots, or because it's the same footprint, you can also have 8 15-litre pots in that tray. We also have an Auto 5, which is a very large square tray, which accommodates 5 35-litre fabric pots, and I'm sure there are plastic pots that will fit those cavities as well. One aqua valve in each of the tray designs, and each aqua valve will control the flow of the water to each of those tray designs. And the final tray that we have is the Auto 9. It's basically another large square tray. I think it's roughly 1.2 square metres, and as standard comes with 9 25-litre plastic pots, or if the grower wishes to grow in fabric pots, then it will be 9 20-litre fabric pots. We also created over the last couple of years, and just recently later on at the end of last year, 2022, are pot dividers. So pot dividers are, in essence, if you think of wine in a box that have divisions to separate the wine and protect it, it's exactly the same concept for the pot divider when you place it in a pot. So if you put a pot divider in an 8.5 litre pot, which we have a design for, or the 15-litre pot, you drop the pot divider into the pot and it automatically subdivides that pot into 4. So you have 4 growing cells. So they are great for being able to pre-vegetative stage for plants, so that you can take your small cuttings or seedlings, you can put them in the 8.5 litre pot or the 15-litre pot with the pot dividers already in there. You've got 4 divisions within each pot. You put those plants in there, you can grow them on, and then you simply lift the pot divider up out of the pot, and then you have your cell that's easily accessible, and then you can put that in your next final pot or Autopot. We also designed a strawberry topper. So the strawberry topper, visually, it looks like a crown. So it's designed to fit on top of an 8.5 litre pot, and it has slight semicircle sort of cutout, so that instead of traditionally planting your strawberries vertically into the pot, you plant them horizontally, and then the concept is that the foliage grows upwards, and the fruit or the strawberries hang lower, so it's for easy picking and just easier maintenance. And then I'd probably say about 10, 12, 14 years ago, we launched a range of collapsible reservoirs and branded them Flexi Tank. So at the very beginning, the reason we wanted to create a flexible or collapsible reservoir is because the company was growing and we were starting to ship products overseas, and companies wanted to buy hard plastic tanks from us to supply the watering systems. But you can only fit probably 6 or 8 350-litre reservoirs or plastic rotor-molded reservoirs on a pallet. So the idea is to create a design that was collapsible, easily stored, easily shipped. And if I put a comparison of 8 350-litre standard water butts or reservoirs on a pallet, you can fit 56 of the Flexi Tank 400-litre tanks on a pallet. So there's a huge difference in shipping rates and shipping costs. So the blue tanks, they come in available ranges of 25-litre, 50-litre, 100-litre, 225 litres, 400 litres, 750 litres and 1,000 litres. And then we also, several years later, introduced the FlexiTank Pro, which is a more robust tank. Difference between the two tanks is the quality of build between the blue tank and the white tank, the Pro. The Pro tank is a much more high-end tank. It is more expensive. The blue tanks really, in essence, are the mini version, and the white tank is the Rolls-Royce. We sell a lot more of the blue ones than we do of the white ones. It really is horses for courses, and on what people want to use. But both tanks are very versatile and easy to set up in minutes. Easy to go. So the Easy to Go kit was probably released, I would say, probably about 6-7 years ago, and it was really about creating a small product that was cost effective for the garden centre market, so people could get used to the Autopot technology. So it really consists of an aqua valve cover, some fittings and pipe work so that you can connect it to any reservoir of your choice. And in layman terms, you've got an aqua valve, you've got a tray, standard garden tray, and you want to go on holiday and you want to use the Autopot technology. So you just drop the aqua valve in the tray, put the cover over the top to stop the aqua valve from floating when the water enters the tray, connect the aqua valve to a reservoir of any size, and you can put fertilizer in that reservoir as well if you want to. Put substantial plants or plant pots in that tray, and then while you're away on holiday, they'll get irrigated, and you'll come back and your plants will be perfectly fine. So it's just an inroad for garden centre growers to get used to our technology with the Easy to Go kit. The Easy to Propagate is probably one of the largest single propagators that there is available out there, and it really consists of a large garden tray, 2 compressed cocoa pads. So the cocoa pads are about 13 millimeters deep, and they're bonded together, cocoa fibers bonded together with latex rubber. So what you need to do once you get the system is you pre-soak the cocoa pads to ensure that the capillary action works properly. Lay your root control sheet on top of the 2 cocoa pads to stop the roots entering into the cocoa mat and getting tangled up. And then you cut out a corner of the cocoa pad, put your aqua valve and aqua valve cover in the corner, connect it to a reservoir, and then you've got an automated propagation unit. And it also comes, which is optional, a huge propagation lid that has 4 vents on top of it. Really easy to use and very effective in the way that it can propagate young plants in seed trays or small plants in the pre-vegetative stage. We also have a product which is called the Aquaplate. An Aquaplate is used for is a sort of an aeroponic design of Autopot. So if you, for example, had an Easy to Grow tray, you could use the Aquaplate square. You'd remove the pots and you put the plate in the cavities where the cavities are in the tray. And then you have 5 little net pots in each square Aquaplate. And then you can put your cuttings in there with a collar, or you can put a small little cube in there. The most important thing when you're using the aquaplates is to ensure, because it's only water going to be in the tray, you've got no soil or any substrate, you've just got a plant and roots hanging into the water below. It's the most important thing is to have the water temperature between 18 to 21 degrees. If your water gets too cold, then the plant slows down and growth slows down. If the water gets too hot, then the plant will suffer and the possibility of getting diseases. So the Aquaplate has been, I've used it over many years, and lots of people have used it for lettuce and herbs and things like that. And it is quite effective for those things. I've even grown tomatoes in it as well, just had the whole cavity of the tray just full of roots from the tomato plant. But it is a fine art of making sure that the water temperature is at the correct temperature. We also have two aqua boxes, Aquabox Spider and Aquabox Straight. So the Aquabox Spider and the Straight are both designed to be placed directly in the ground, so in raised beds or in allotments. So if I talk about the Aquabox Spider basically irrigates a square area. So you have a clam-shaped box that the aqua valve sits inside, and then it's connected to the reservoir. And radiating out from the Aquabox Spider is capillary matting. You have 12 strips of capillary matting that radiate out up to an area of about 1.2 square meters. they are semi-buried under the ground. So they're probably about, from the aquabox, as they go out away from the aquabox, probably about an inch to about maybe 6 inches when the capillary matting's the furthest away from the aquabox. And how it works is that the water enters into the clam-shaped box where the aquavalve is, and the capillary wicks pull the moisture out and distribute it under the soil. So you just literally plant your plants around next to the strips, and the roots tap onto the strips and then draw the water out of the box, and they work very well. We've had growers grow huge pumpkins, marrows, cucumbers, tomatoes, all different types of herbs using them. They do work very effective. And because the matting is below the ground, the amount of evaporation occurs is very minimal. So if you imagine drippers dripping water on in raised beds or in allotments, when it's hot, the majority of that water will probably evaporate before it actually gets to the root zone. So the great thing about the aquabox spiders, the matting is actually buried slightly under the ground, so that evaporation is reduced quite dramatically. And then the aquabox straight, the same principle applies to the aquabox straight as previously discussed with the aquabox spider, but the aquabox straight is really used for allotments and using rows. So you grow rows of plants, and then literally you just lay out your matting either side of the aquabox straight and plant your plants next to the matting. They can all be linked together, so you can have huge long runs of aquaboxes or aquabox straights or aquabox spiders within your allotment or within your garden. We also do a product called a cocoa mat. So the cocoa mat is the same, a smaller version of the cocoa pads or cocoa mats that sit in the easy to propagate. The cocoa mat is just a simple retail pack. There's no involvement of Autopot technology or aquavalves there. It really is just a rectangular cocoa pad, compressed cocoa, 30 millimeters thick, that will fit in most standard seed trays. You pre-soak it, you put your root control sheet on the top that you pre-soak as well. You fill the tray up just so with water, and you can put some fertilizer in there as well, and fill up the water just to the undersurface of the cocoa mat. Put your seed trays on there, your pots on there. And then the great thing about the cocoa mat is that it makes irrigation for small plants very simple, because there's a lot of errors with growers in the early stages of young plants with overwatering or underwatering, or just knowing when to water them. The great thing about the cocoa pads or the cocoa mats is that water's available to the underside of the pot as and when the plants need it. So you've just got small amounts of moisture and not large amounts of water. Just gentle moisture is what young plants want. They don't want heavily watering. So the cocoa mat's a great option for people to just get things right very easily in the very early stages of plants' life. Which leads me on to the air dome. So the air dome was created probably in the mid 2000s. And when we first trialed the air dome, we just used an orchid net pot and put a little bit of, I think it's leaky pipe around the base of it, and then put them in the bottom, I think, of 25-litre pots, and grew some loofahs at the farm in Oxford. All the air domes that we use or that are in the pots, we actually proved that the amount of loofahs that we grew on those pots was 130% increase on yield, which was quite dramatic. Adding the air in the base of the pot was quite dramatic. So born was the idea of the air dome. So we created this dome, which is literally, as it is, a dome that has bubble pipe in it that you then connect to an air pump, and you pump air into the base of the pot, and that air perforates up inside the medium or the substrate. So if you're using the air dome, it's very, very important to maximize the effectiveness of it, that you have a substrate that's very open. And when I say very open, for example, I would probably say 50% cocoa and 50% perlite. You can always add a bit more perlite if you wanted to, or 50% soil and 50% perlite or pebbles. Or if you imagine one end of the spectrum, you've got perlite, which is very open and free draining, and air can filter up through it. And at the other end of the spectrum, you've got peat, which gets very compressed when it's wet. If you put peat on top of an air dome, you're not going to have any benefit, because the air will just stay trapped at the bottom, and air will bubble out of the bottom of the pot, and it will rock the aquavalve, which is not what you want. So to maximize the effectiveness of the air dome, and pretty much from what we've seen over the last decade, is that most people are increasing yields, whether on fruit or flowers or vegetative growth, around 30-40%. So for a little thing to be dropped in the bottom of the pot and some very open substrate placed on top of it, they are very effective. And then later on, or earlier on last year, we launched the airbase. So the airbase can be used in conjunction with the air dome or not. So you can use it with it or without it. The great thing about the airbase is that it negates the use of pebbles, which are commonly, or we've always recommended previously, people put a layer of pebbles at the bottom of their pot as a drainage area. And then that, it's beneficial for the plants. The problem is with pebbles, they're very alkali, and people don't pre-treat their pebbles for 48 hours before. If you're going to use pebbles at the bottom of the pot, you must always pre-treat them. And when I say pre-treating them, I would say soak them in a bucket of water where the pH, you set the pH around 5.0, 5.5. You can always add a little bit of feed, a quarter strength feed to that. Soak the pebbles, and then leave them for 48 hours. Tip off the water. Don't wash them, because the water that you'll wash them out of the tap will be more alkali, and you'll make the pebbles more alkali. And then you can put them in the pot and they'll be fine. Problem is, it's quite a drawn out process to do that every time for every single pot. So the air base is literally an ABS plastic square or round base that you drop in the pot. They're 30 millimeters thick. They have little tubes. You throw a little bit of soil in the pot, just so that it fills the holes. Shake the pot. You don't need to press the soil down the holes in the air base, and then you put the rest of the soil on top and plant the plant up. So the air bases are basically a drainage area now, and you can use them again and again and again. And I would be surprised that if anyone buys them this year, they would ever have to buy them for another 20 years, because they will last forever. They're easily washed. You can put them in the dishwasher, and they're very, very effective, and they're available in a square design and a round design. Earlier on this, or towards the end of this year, or middle of last year, 2022, we launched the Double XL. So the Double XL is a larger version of the standard XL that houses the 25 litre pot. So the XL can hold a 35 litre fabric pot, a 50 litre fabric pot, and we've also found tree planters with handles, plastic tree planters with handles, that are 65 litre, 70 litre and 75 litre. So it's quite a versatile product. It also can be used indoors and outdoors. It has an optional overflow facility at the far end of the aqua valve. So if you're using the Double XL outdoors to grow big specimen plants, blueberry bushes or apple trees or whatever, then the great thing about the XXL module, if it rains, if you have the module outside, or a series of modules linked to a tank outside, you pull out the overflow plug, so that if it does rain and it rains heavily, you turn the tank off, let it rain, and then any excess water will drain out of the overflow hole. And then once it's finished raining, let the plant consume the water that's in the tray, and then turn the tap back on. There's no point having the reservoir on while it's raining. You may as well just turn it off, and then turn it off once all the water's been consumed in the tray. Okay, so probably my favorite product is the aqua valve, which makes perfect sense because it's the heart of everything that we design. So Autopot is, without the aqua valve, is just a pot and a tray, and there's no irrigation system. The aqua valve really came about because of the need for self-sustainability and water saving issues, and trying to find something that was very easily manufactured and designed, even though there's lots of detail and intricacy within the concept of the aqua valve. And it's also the way that it functions. It's automatic without the use of power, and it saves water, and they can all be linked together, and each aqua valve and each tray is independent, and each plant becomes independent. So I'd probably say, well, without doubt, the aqua valve is probably the most unique product, and probably my favorite product, because Autopot is nothing without it. But another product that I do like is also the pot divider, because of the simplicity, and also having a product that complements existing products. So the pot divider, but ultimately the aqua valve is probably my favorite product. I think my favorite product that Autopot doesn't manufacture or market at this moment in time is the Autopot hanging basket. So the Autopot hanging basket, Main reason is the water saving issues. Historically, we did a little bit of market research quite a couple of decades or so ago to discover that the amount of water wasted in the UK throughout the summer, or the spring and the summer in the UK, was the amount of water wasted would fill the old Wembley Stadium each week. So it's quite horrifying to see a decade or so ago that amount of water was being wasted just on hanging basket waterage. So if I incorporate, and if I could click my fingers, design a hanging basket, and everyone start using it tomorrow or in the coming months, then suddenly you would have a huge amount of water saving every year by having a hanging basket design. So I would probably say, yeah, the Autopot hanging basket is probably a design that, I would is my favorite product that we don't market or sell. New products for 2023 and just released at the end of 2022. Firstly, the end of 2022, we launched a fertilizer range designed for Autopot called The Source. It can be found at www.sourcefertilizer.com. I spent the last couple of years working with the chemist and also Warwick University, trialling the A and the B grow, the A and the B flower, and 4 biostimulants that we selected. And it's very clean, very effective. It's very cost effective for the end user as well. I mean, the amount of milliliters of certain types of biostimulants are much more concentrated than many other brands. And obviously we wanted to design a product, a consumable product for Autopot growers, because there's millions of Autopot growers out there, and we're forever being asked the question, which is the best fertilizer to use? And we've always mentioned lots of other brands, and some brands are used with Autopot that don't work quite as well. Some work well, but we thought it made perfect sense for when people start asking the questions, which is the best fertilizer to use. The Source fertilizer has now been designed for Autopot, and we would strongly recommend that all growers should really use the Source fertilizer range. New product that's going to be launched early February 2023 is the Tray to Grow. And the Tray to Grow probably hands down has been one of the most drawn out, longest design projects I've ever encountered. But it's probably going to be one of my favorite products. I think it will surpass the AquaValve, I should think. Initially, it was a tray, an Autopot tray with an AquaValve at one end to irrigate a standard grow bag to grow tomatoes for the garden centre market. As it's turned out, it will irrigate plants in 5 different ways. So initially, like I said, it was designed to irrigate a grow bag for tomatoes or cucumbers at home in your greenhouse or on the patio. But it will also accommodate 4 standard seed trays, and these are standard seed trays for the garden centre market. It will also irrigate pots of all different sizes. We've also designed microherb flats or microherb trays, 2 trays that will fit in the Tray to Grow. And we've also designed a fabric planter that will sit in the Tray to Grow as well. So yeah, the Tray to Grow will be launched February 2023 and comes in beautifully organic ink recycled boxes. We spent the last couple of years rebranding and getting ready for the garden centre market, and creating new point of sale material that's quite unique and not been done before. But yeah, the 2 products, the Source fertilizer and the Tray to Grow, out shortly, which should be hopefully a good seller and bridge all types of horticultural marketplaces, the hobby market, garden centre and commercial, and microherb market as well. I suppose the future for Autopot is we've been working on it for the last couple of years, we've become a household name into the hobby hydroponic market globally pretty much over the last 10 years. We supply our products, to 30, 40, 50, 60 countries on a regular basis. But, things are changing worldwide at the moment. And 2.5 years ago, we started working on the new project for the garden centre market. So really moving forward, and I've always been a big believer that Autopot, at the right time, when we're ready, should be prominent or could be prominent in the garden centre market. And looking at the garden centre market and the way that their buying has changed over the years, they're looking at innovative new products in the UK. Grow your own products, and the garden centre, the garden centre buyer or the garden centre customer really for irrigation products has only had a couple of choices, which is a watering can, Lock or gardenia. We're the major sponsor for the National Vegetable Society. The average age is 60 to 70. They get it, they use it, they're over the moon with it. Medwin Williams, 13 times gold medal Chelsea winner. He's been using Autopot for the last 5 years. He gets it and understands it. So it makes perfect sense from our point of view to get Autopot into the garden centre market in a big scale. We really think that Autopot has a place in the garden centre market, first in the UK and then globally around the rest of the world. What would I rate my growing skills? I suppose I'm not a bad grower. I would probably say I'm quite proficient. I mean, I've learned a lot over the years, and I'm still learning every day. For me, growing's easy. It's about recognizing deficiencies in plants before they take hold of the plant. And I've grown most things from cress to aubergines to peppers, cucumbers, you name it. I've pretty much grown every single plant on the planet with success. So I would probably say, I don't know, 8 out of 10 I'd give myself. There's always room for improvement. I can grow at a commercial level. I can grow at a hobby level. So yeah, I'd probably give myself 8 out of 10. I'd probably say I'd be pessimistically optimistic, should I say?